Thank you for getting our CDs. I'm assuming you're getting this videotape because you purchased our CDs on PowerPoint. This purpose of this video is to show you how to do PowerPoint. I'm going to assume the person watching this knows nothing, because that's where I was just a few years ago. And many people who explained things to me about computers started way over my head. So we're going to start from ground zero. Once you get a scanner like this right here, these cost about $300. This hooks into the back of my computer. And there's several different types of scanners and several different ways they hook in. So you probably have to read the instructions that come with your scanner for where it plugs into your computer. And then you install a program. In this case, it's called Corel Photo Paint 8 is what I'm using here. This is how I put slides into my presentation and how I adjust the slides and do a PowerPoint presentation. Somebody sent me a book, Canadian Geographic, National Geographic for Canada. I'm going to scan the cover into the book, so I'm going to put it in under the lid on the glass. I go on my desktop and open up Corel Photo Paint 8, which is the icon for the scanner. I have it already running, so I'll just tab over to it. Corel Photo Paint 8. Now, I had Brian, my computer guy, write me out a list of instructions of step-by-step how to do it to make it goof-proof. I have the instructions taped right on top, step 1 through 13 of what to do. Control-Q is the shortcut to accomplish the job. Control-Q, there's probably another way up here in the View menu or something, or File or Scan menu or something, that you can do it. But on this one, Control-Q automatically tells it, okay, scan this picture. I've had several different scanners, and they all do it just a little bit different. It's warming up the lamp, and it's scanning a picture. It'll take just a moment. As it scans it in, I will have to select a border of how much of this picture do I want it to really scan. It's going to give it just a quick once-over. Scanners will scan in, depending on how much money you want to spend on a scanner. It's turning that picture into a whole bunch of dots, pixels they're called, and they have different. It's called the resolution. How many pixels does it have? In this case, it gives me probably like 2,000 pixels up and down this direction. Now the next thing I have to do, step 2, is I have to select a border. So I'm moving the mouse down to the bottom left-hand corner, any corner, holding this button down and dragging my finger across, and it's actually making a square on there. And I'm telling the scanner, this is what I want to scan. I want to scan everything inside those borders. I could just pick a small place like his eye or one letter on the page or anything. Now Control-I is the shortcut to tell it, okay, now that's what I really want to scan. It's going to scan the picture in again, this time with more detail. It's going to really do a sharp picture. But it's much more information than I need. How many dots your computer puts on the screen and how many your video projector puts on the screen, these are all going to be different. In the case of a video projector, we looked at all different ones and found out we could save about $3,000 if we go with a slightly lower resolution. And so our video projector projects out 800 by 600 dots, called an 8 by 6 projector. We could have spent $3,000 more and got a 10 by 7, they call it. It does 1,024 by 768, I believe. We checked both projectors out, stood 10 feet back, looked at them both, and couldn't tell the difference. The eyeball cannot resolve that fine of a difference at more than 10 or 15 feet away. And since most of the time I speak in audiences of churches where they're going to be more than 15 feet away, it didn't matter. It saved $3,000. Plus, my computer then does not have to memorize all those dots, because the resolution is lower. It takes up a smaller file space in the computer. If you want to scan your pictures in at a higher resolution, that's perfectly fine. But then your computer has to memorize more. It's going to be slower to boot up, to go between pictures. And if you can't project it anyway, why save all that information? That's our thought. F4 is the shortcut now to bring the picture to its full screen. Now, I have to do several things to this picture. My next step is, if I don't like the color, I can change that. Under Image, there's Alt-I is the shortcut to get to it. Image, and I can adjust things about this image. I can adjust the color. I can adjust the brightness. I can adjust the gamma, the hue, the saturation. It's just, you can just play with this for hours and hours and practice on pictures to get what you want. I'm going to tell it to just auto-equalize. I'm going to select auto-equalize, and it made it just a little darker, and we'll see how close it came to matching the picture. The orange did not come out quite the same as the guy's hat. I could probably sit here and play with this picture for 5 hours and get it exactly like the original photograph. I have other things to do in life. Okay, that's close enough. because this picture is going to go on one of my slides, but it's just going to be down in the corner. It's not going to be the whole slide. My projector can project 800 by 600, which means if I'm going to fill in half of the picture, I only need to save 300 dots high. So I'm going to change the resolution. Alt-I to get into image, and then L happens to be the underlined letter for resolution. Alt-I-L. I go over here to the far right and change it from inches. It'll drop down the menu and change it to pixels. And then it's going to say, okay, how many pixels would you like? Right now, it's scanned it in at 1,168 by 1,613 high. It's got the width and the height in pixels. Well, I can't project all that information, so why on earth would I save it? I'm going to go under the height and change it to, backspace to clear that out, I'm going to change it to 300. Now what's going to happen at 300, my picture is going to become kind of grainy, but it won't matter because I hit Tab. It changed it to 300 high and 217 wide. The width, you want your width and length to be less than your maximums. It doesn't have to, they both won't equal, probably not. Now I'm going to tell it OK. Now it's only 195 kilobytes of information. It was 5.6 megabytes of information. It shrank the picture way down. F4 will blow it up again. And really, you can't tell a lot of difference. If you get up real close, you can see it's now more pixelated. It's a little grainy, but that's fine. Now I have to give the picture a name. I'm going to call it Alt-F-A, which is the shortcut for Save As. I save everything on my desktop. I'm going to call it Canadian Geographic. Canadian Geo. Now I'm going to save it as, what type of file? Brian told me to save everything as a Windows bitmap. So I do it. I don't know why. There's probably a reason. But I do it because Brian said and because it works. So I save everything as a Windows bitmap. This picture is now saved on my desktop. It's also still open in Corel PhotoPaint 8. Alt-F-C will close down the picture. Alt-F4 will close down Corel PhotoPaint 8. Now the picture is right there, Canadian Geographic, as an icon on my desktop. If you keep too many things on your desktop, it slows your computer down for running. So I have a file down here called New Slides. I will usually click and drag it and drop it into the New Slides folder, and then later, as I get time traveling or something, I will get them. In this case, I'm ready to use it. So I will open up my seminar. I have all of my seminar into 15 different parts. They are also saved in a folder called Creation Seminar. The Canadian Geographic article talks about Axel Island, which is where they find the trees. And I believe I kept that information on Axel Island on Seminar 6A. So I'm going to open up Seminar 6A in Microsoft PowerPoint. With the CDs you have, you would be smarter to put them onto your hard drive because the hard drive can read faster than the CD drive can. And so if you save them in your hard drive, when you do presentations, it'll be able to do it much faster. PowerPoint opened up automatically, in this case, in the slide edit mode. This is my first slide of my presentation. I can do several things. I can edit this particular slide by adding text, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Or I can sort all of my slides. The shortcut is Alt-VD, or there's little buttons down here which will do the same thing, or there's the commands up here that you can accomplish the same thing under Slideshow. Basically, Alt-VD is the shortcut. It's faster. Since I type so slow, I learned all the shortcuts. This is going to put all my slides in this presentation, and there happens to be 252 of them at this time. It's going to put them